Desperate co-wives. Once upon a time, in a remote village called Ihenta, there lived three co-wives named Ojuigo, Ngozi, and Ozioma. They were married to a kind-hearted man, and together they had a harmonious family with their children. However, despite their love for one another, they were living in abject poverty, struggling to make ends meet. One day, Ojugo, the first wife, decided to visit her old friend, Uda, who was also poor but later became very rich. Ojugo poured out her heart to Uda, explaining the dire situation her family was in. Deeply moved by her friend's plight, Uda resolved to help her, but Ojugo insisted that her co-wives should also benefit from the assistance. Thus, the three co-wives journeyed to meet Uda, who took them to Ngene, who was a renowned ritualist. They understood that their family's liberation from poverty required a special ceremony. The co-wives made a solemn vow to remain loyal and never betray one another throughout this process and beyond. Arriving at Ngene's abode, in the middle of the deep forest, they participated in a cleansing ritual to wash away the burden of poverty that plugged their lives. They engaged in an intense pounding activity, symbolizing their determination to pound poverty out of their existence. Despite the foul smell emanating from the mixture they pounded, they were asked to eat the substance. It was very difficult, but they understood that it represented the hardships they were leaving behind. As part of their final test, Ngene instructed the co-wives to wear black mantles on their head, resembling witches, and sent them to a nearby village to seek alms. They were advised not to let their children catch sight of them during this process. With tension, the co-wives set out on their journey. Unfortunately, their appearance as witches caused people to run away from them in fear, and nobody dared to offer any help. Days turned into nights, and the co-wives began to grow weak and exhausted. Meanwhile, back at home, their family had grown worried about their absence. Determined to find them, their children set out on a quest to locate their missing mothers. After searching far and wide, they stumbled upon the co-wives on the brink of collapse. Filled with love and concern, they brought them back home and surrounded them with warmth and care. The co-wives woke up to the loving embrace of their family. After waking up and realizing that they were in bigger trouble for coming before their children before the ritual has been concluded, they were eager to know how the family found them. They were told how their two children saw them lying helplessly on the road and decided to bring them home. They were asked why they were begging and also dressed like witches, but the co-wives lied that they were tired of their poverty and decided to go begging. The co-wives, fully aware that the ritual has been interrupted, devised a means of reaching the ritualist for solution. But the ritualist told them that there was no solution, as only one of their children had been chosen to be rich. The chosen one is the son of one of them, and that the mother of the chosen one must take great precaution and prevent the son from helping any of his brothers, or he will die. Confused by the turnout of the events, the co-wives begged the ritualist Ngene to help them out, but Ngene told them that the only way out is to kill their husband. With heavy hearts, weighing the options and contemplating the possibility of one of their sons being the chosen one, the co-wives journeyed back home. They were welcomed with the news of Ikedi, son of Ozioma, the third wife, gone to the city with a friend to start work in an oil company. The co-wives looked at one another and understood what had happened. Their inability to celebrate this great development raised eyebrows from the family members as they managed to fake a celebration. Ozioma was both happy and sad. She was happy her son was the chosen one, but also sad he may help his brothers and die. Ojugo and Ngozi were overwhelmed by anger but couldn't do anything because of the oaths they had taken. Months passed and Ikedi returned as a very rich man, ready to change the situation of his family. But his mother, Ozioma, was not ready to lose her son. She did all she could to stop Ikedi from giving money to any of the family members. In fact, she sent him back to the city the next day. Ikedi, who had promised to take two of his brothers to the city, has to disappoint them due to pressure from his mother not to help them. He promised to be back soon and take them. Months passed after Ikedi left, and only his mother was enjoying the wealth. The co-wives, Ojugo and Ngozi, unable to bear it anymore, summoned Ozioma and informed her of their plan to carry out the second option of killing their husband so that their children would partake in the wealth they all suffered together to achieve. But Ozioma refused to be a party to it. She devised a means of taking her husband to the city and living happily ever with her son. Her thoughts were interrupted by cries from their children. On reaching the front of the house, she found out that their husband had been poisoned. Ozioma was about questioning Ojugo and Ngozi of what happened to their husband when the lifeless body of Ikedi was brought in by his half-brother, Ndudi. Ndudi explained that Ikedi sneaked into the village to give him money to share with his other brothers because he couldn't understand why his mother was stopping him from helping any one of them. Ikedi slumped and died as soon as he gave Ndudi the money. Devastated and unable to bear the loss of her husband and son, Ozioma went ahead to confess everything. The family was thrown into wailing and mourning. Suddenly, the co-wives, Ozioma, Ojugo and Ngozi ran mad, and their children were very disappointed in them. The family that once lived in peace and harmony became a mockery of itself as villagers gossiped about what had happened. Their situation did not get better, but it became worse because of the impatience of their mothers. There are lessons to be learned from the story. Patience as a virtue is still golden. We should be patient and wait for God's time. Secondly, we should not try to manipulate destinies. We should let our destinies take natural effects. Thirdly, getting rich quickly should not be encouraged, but hard work should be rewarded. This is Umma's story time. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe. I am Amarachi Ihoma, the young storyteller.